Hang on, are we live? I think we're live. I think we're live. Oh my gosh, what a palaver this morning, Pete. What a palaver this morning. It's literally telling me that I had no mic. Like, no, nobody's going to hear you. It's like, well, what's the point then? What's the point in starting alive? But nobody's going to hear me with. Rah! So I just had to reset everything. So hence why I'm a little bit late. I do apologise. Yes, I am late. Hate being late. Anyway, right, we're going to get stuck in anyway because I'm wasting time, right? How are you guys doing? Have you enjoyed it so far? Has the tips been helpful? Let me know. So what we're going to have a look at today is Flatline Scorpio. And there's so many people at this stage, which I class as an intermediate stage. A lot of people are like, oh, I can only do it from a butterfly. And I'm like, oh, but you're missing out on that. You can do this move, not from a butterfly. You just do it from an invert, okay? You just do it from a chopper. And it's also a great way to work on your active flexibility, to be able to hold the legs up and place it on. Now, if you don't have great active flexibility, this might be why you prefer to go from butterfly, but we can work on that. We can work on that. I can give you some tips to help you on it. But it's one of those things that if I'm giving you tips, guys, you're going to implement them. It's not saying, oh, this is good information, and then not actually taking this information and putting it into practice, which I feel a lot of you may be doing, because I've been given a lot of tips and then I get messages going, oh, I don't know why I'm struggling. I'm like, well, watch this video. Have you been doing this? No. Okay. That's what I would recommend you do, because and the thing is, it's not just about doing it once either. You know the drill. Like, you don't go to the gym and just lift one dumbbell once, okay? Repetition is key. It's the same with pop, right? So I'm going to show you what a flatline Scorpio is, so you've got some idea of what we're doing today. I'm going to show you how to get into it without going into butterfly, and then we'll talk through it. I've got my massive socks on. I don't know how they're going to stay on, but they are so lovely, so warm. It's definitely winter here. Okay, it's autumn, but it feels like winter. Okay, here we go. Okay, Scorpio, flatline Scorpio. So how did I do that? So we're going to work on the tuck, and we're going to work on the tilt, and then we're going to place the inside leg on, okay? And I think for so many, it's a habit of placing the outside leg on, and then that's why the butterfly feels better because you switch. But what we want to do is keep practicing that we can place both legs on without having to, go into a completely different move. If you're going into butterfly, that's a lot of time and energy to do a butterfly just to get into flatline Scorpio. So obviously I do the straight leg invert. You don't have to. You can actually do it to tuck. And like I said, if you don't have active flexibility and lift both legs, we can go into a full invert. I'm going to show you both anyway. Okay. So first of all, working on straight leg lifts from your invert grip position. I call them boomerang lifts, just with an invert grip. Okay. I love this exercise, and you can do this, and it's also going to work on quad strength, hip flexion, hamstring flexibility, core strength, upper body, pretty much the whole works on this one, right? So you tucks, this is just a straight leg version. So from here, hands at face level, outside hand always above, okay? And something that I've been asked quite a lot recently with inverts is why can't I get my hips up? And a lot of people start with their hands above their head, okay? If you've got your hands above your head, your hips have to be where your hands are, so start lower, okay? As you have to pull up and do a lot more work to get up there. So as a beginner, we're going to have them nice and low. We're going to hold down, we're going to squeeze the shoulders together. We're going to tuck the pelvis under, and I'm going to keep my legs dead straight, and then I'm going to try and lift my toes off the ground, and then I'm going to try and lift my legs up as high as you can. You may start to shake, and then you're going to slowly lower down, okay? So just because you've got into that end position that you want to, doesn't mean you can fall out of your moves, okay? As the slower you go, the more you're going to build your strength up so much more quickly. Even if you don't change anything else about your practice, but just this month slowly, you'll be amazed at how much stronger you can get. So take that little nugget with you today. So once we can practice those, we can practice on repetition. Now you may find if you don't have much push strength or hip flexion to be able, or hamstring flexibility, there's a lot going on in that. You may only find that you'll get to here, okay, and you're like, oh, I gotta go up anymore. That's okay. There's so much you can work on off the pole, okay? I'm going to do the pole step first, and I'll do off the conditioning that you can do, okay? So even if we can't do that, we're going to tuck, tilt, okay? So we're going to tuck, tilt, then place the leg on, right? So from here, I'm going to tuck, tilt, and then I'm going to place my calf on. Okay, inside leg, heel on. Can you see that? That is a great way to get straight into a Scorpio position. If you're like, oh, I can't get that leg up and around, like it's just so difficult, we're going to go straight into an invert. Okay, so tuck, tilt, shoot the legs on as normal, then you can swap the legs around, right? So, normal invert, inside leg is going over the front leg, and then when we take the front leg off, it places the calf in the right place. Okay, so that's another way to get that calf on. Now, most important thing with Scorpio, right in the side tummy pocket. Okay, so how are we going to get there? When you go into an invert, you're going to probably find the pole being way up here somewhere. Okay, we need it in the side tummy pocket. So how are we going to get there? We're going to pull up. Yeah. So if you are inverting straight legs, obviously straight leg invert is more advanced. I'm placing their leg on. I'm not tilting all the way back. Okay, so I'm sort of covering both versions here, depending on what your level at. So from here, I'm not really tilting all the way back. Okay, I'm not going all the way here. I'm staying upright to place this on, and that's making me stay in my side tummy pocket. Okay, if I'm going for my invert, as you can see, the pole is more towards my armpit. Swap my legs around. So what I need to do from here is pull up, and I'm going to place the outside leg below. Okay, so I'm going to use it as sort of there to help me. Okay, so the leg's going down, I'm going up. Okay, and I'm getting the pole in the side tummy pocket. Now the other thing, extra thing that I also do in this one, I like to use my forearm. Okay, a lot of people don't use their forearm. Forearm can be amazing, not only for pushing to get the pole in the right place, but also for inverts, particularly when you want to keep the pole there. Instead of keeping the pole in the touch position that you would train as a beginner, you would actually move the forearm around, get the elbow in front, so you can push with that forearm. That's going to help you push the pole into that side tummy pocket. So if I go from an invert here, so I'm going to push, 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 still pulling the shoulders down and back. So I'm going to go up, push, it's in the right place, it's nowhere near my armpit. Okay? Because my forearm's not allowing it to go up in that place. Hopefully that makes sense. Are we good so far? Has anyone got any questions? Let me see. Hey, good morning, Jennifer. How are you? Good morning, peeps. I've got Pink Polka Dot PGSS. Not sure what your name is, lovely. M1 Dome V Pink Kelly. Hey, Kelly Ho. How you doing? Yeah, we've got loads going on in this round. Hey, guys. Okay, cool. So once we've got that calf on, now some people do an inside leg hang or Scorpio. I call it a Scorpio. With like trying to get more like under the knee. I don't think that's, I'm not saying it's wrong. You can't get a hook with your inside leg. Do you know what I mean? So with your outside leg, you push the back of the knee onto the palm, point your foot down, and you create a good lock behind that knee. With an inside leg, you can't get behind the knee. Okay? So you end up just like squeezing with the calf. Now, there's pros and cons with that. I'll show you what I mean by that. So instead of placing the calf like on, so I always aim heel to the side, have that whole of the calf have contact. Yeah. Some people take their legs straight over, so they get end up like this. Okay. Now, not necessarily wrong. Not saying it's wrong at all, because actually having that leg in that position can help you with some other moves. For example, having that leg over is going to cover more of a gap for you behind the knee to work on moves like a leg wrap. But for me, it's definitely more uncomfortable to have all that calf, like, it's not even all the calf, it's half the calf, because you've got the rest of the calf off. Whereas when I have the leg up, I can actively pull. You got to think about what's pushing and what's pulling. So is it just that you're placing that leg over, and what are you doing? Because how are you pulling if it's that way? Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm just babbling now, but I'd love to know if you are going straight over it or whether you're pulling with your calf and actively pulling in. Okay. Also, right, we're going to cover that a little bit. So once we have that placement of your calf arm, whether you're doing it straight from invert and placing or invert and swapping, we obviously need to stay pulled up. This is where these biceps are going to come into play. Now, you would have already worked on bicep engagement by doing your tucks, okay? So being in this position, working on your knees up to be able to get your inver. And hopefully you would have worked on like your pull-ups as well. So sitting on the floor. If you're following on MTC training, you will have. So not only will this work your back, but the pull-ups will also work on your bicep strength, okay? Which we do those in Master Chopper. So we are going to use those bad boys in so up, and we're going to hold ourselves, okay? So we're going to hold ourselves upright, trying to stay parallel to the ground. So the pole is in that tummy pocket. And this is the tricky bit, is because we're going to hold with one hand to release the inside hand, right? So, tactile, leg on, outside leg down. Now we're staying in this position. Inside hand's going to come off, then it's going to place down. I'm going to pull my shoulder back. I'm not allowing it to come forwards. Pushing it about lifting up my chest down, okay? So you can use a mirror, you can use your phone, you can use whatever you've got to try and get into a nice flat position. We're squeezing the butt of the outside leg and pushing the back of the knee nice and flat. Squeeze, and then once you feel you've got a good position, then you can take your hand, outside hand off, and extend that arm over your head, okay? And what I see too much of is the hand being up here, shoulders coming up, or this leg like this. Okay, now one of the common mistakes with this move is not focusing on the outside leg. That outside leg is going to help you get more grip because the more it's further away from the pole, the more your inside leg gets gripped on the pole. Yeah, so this leg going down is going to help you stay stable. This leg is going to come up, you're going to spin. Okay, so if you're spinning, watch out for that leg. You end up just turning and it'll be like, freaking out. So once we've got on, hand down, you can always start with it lower and then check your positioning. Then you can always move it up a little bit. Try not to start too high, okay? So even if we're going from an invert pulling up and everything else is stuck in sync, I'm going to show you from this side of the pole. So tactile, shoot up, inside leg's going on to the front leg's coming off. I'm going to pull up and drive that outside leg down using my forearm to push on the pole. Inside hand is going to come off, big circle down, index finger pointing down. Push the chest up. If you're feeling good here, squeeze the back, extend the arm over your head. Okay? Hand back on. Now, I like to hold on just under that knee grip or knee point. Inside hand can come on. Okay, so I'm still sort of in that side tummy pocket. Grabbing on. You can bring the outside leg back up if you need to unhook, and then pull back up. As always, dismounts are super important to control. So that's why I always keep saying to you, I will always tell you, record yourself, okay? Don't just take a picture and then fall out of the move. Record yourself in and out of the move. So there's a huge difference here. Does this make sense? Okay? So use that forearm as tip number one to try and get that tummy pocket on. Squeezing your butt and keeping that outside leg low. Tip number two, to keep that core being pulled on the pole. You'll feel so much more secure doing it that way. Inside hand slightly lower. You can bump it up if you need to. Better than being up here. Remember? Chest lifts. Oh, yeah? Are we good so far? Are we good? Are we good? Hey, how are we doing? It's lovely to have you guys here. Excellent. Okay, so what we're going to have a look at now is how you can work on this move or conditioning for this move on the floor. Okay, so hopefully you can see the floor. Okay, I'll start behind the pole. Okay. So actually, one of the ones I put as did I do it as a reel? I think I did it as a reel. If you're on Instagram or YouTube. So what we're going to do is we're going to face the pole, and this is such a great fun way to work on active flexibility, to work on those leg lifts. Now it's important, as always, back needs to stay nice and straight. So we're going to face the pole, hands at face level. Lean back, so arms are straight. You're going to wait to pull your shoulder blades together. Okay, so you can practice this. Squeeze and release. Squeeze, almost like scapular push-ups, but scapular pull-ups. Okay, so we're going to keep the shoulder blades together. We're going to bring your knees out towards your shoulders, and then I want you to try and straighten your legs as much as you can. Really try and push the back of the knees nice and flat. Look at your legs, make sure there's no bends, and try and minimize this rounded position, okay? Just to get your legs up. Now, what you might find is as you pull up, the legs come down. So you're going to try and squeeze those legs closer towards you, okay? Then you're going to bring one leg in, get one hand off, behind, behind. And every time you're trying to lift that chest bone nice and high to avoid the rounding of the back, and it's so good. Oh, it gets you good in the quads, which is what we want, okay? So another one you'll probably already know means as well is your leg lifts. So sitting nice and wide, making sure you're sat on your tailbone. If you don't have this flexibility in your hamstrings yet, you may find that this is like as straight as you can get. So go and grab a couple of blocks, sit nice and tall. Okay, so you'll be slightly elevated, which should help your position. You're going to think about lifting like the tailbone back. Okay, so rather than tailbone under, lift it up. Show the person behind you. Okay, so we're going to engage the quads. Have a look at your legs. You can feel your legs, squeeze them, tense them. You think about pushing the back and the knees towards the floor. You're going to feel those muscles working. And then we're going to take one hand, or take both hands down either side of one leg, and you're going to try and lift the leg. Slowly lower down. Don't drop the heel down. With control, up and down. See if you can aim. You know, if you're starting this, you may find that 3 isn't enough. And then do 3 the other leg. And then you're going to see if you can work up to 5, and then work up to 7, and then work up to 10. Okay, and if you want to do more, put ankle weights on first. Okay, start back down doing 3, and then 5, 7, and 10, building it up so it's more heavier. You can of course do more, but I actually think you can save more time by putting more resistance, so ankle weights on, to make it more challenging, so you don't have to do as many. Because what you want to do is make sure that you're using your time wisely. So finding that 10 is really super easy. Let's get some ankle weights on. Let's not time waste. Maybe we'll do 3, but oh my god, they're gonna burn. It's gonna be good, really good. Okay. You can also practice this position on the floor, laying like with the pole. I'm hoping you'll be able to see this. So laying next to the pole. Okay. So again, we can work on glute strength. Glutes can be super important to be able to lower the outside leg. So from here, I have my inside hand on the pole pulling down, outside hands by your hips. So I'm going to tuck and tilt, I'm going to shoot my legs up, and I'm going to place that inside leg onto the pole, heel to the side, and I'm going to lower the other leg nice and low, squeeze in the butt. Okay? So you can come up again, lower. You can see if you can do it without using the other hand on the pole. So go up, calf on, keep the hips up, hold the heel to the side. So you don't want this knee too far out, okay? Knee in so we can pull that heel to the side. Lower the other leg down, make sure you're squeezing your butt. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. You may be able to touch the floor with the heel without bending that leg. Good stuff, work on that, okay? And of course, make sure that you do that on both sides. Hopefully you can see that. Does that make sense? So definitely practice from the floor the positioning of your leg. Obviously, we're not going to be able to position that bracket hand. That's something you're going to need a little bit of height, yeah? But squeezing the butt is also the most important thing. One, it will help lengthen your hip flexors. So you need to build up that glute strength. So have a look at our glute exercises on YouTube. You want to make sure you're building your glute strength because that's going to help you lengthen your hip flexors. That means that outside leg's going to get nice and low. You can get lovely lines, yeah? You can also work on your lovely lines with anything you've got. So here we go, the foam roller. So I'm going to be elevated. So what I mean by that, I'm just going to roll over. I'm going to bring both legs up. You can have one leg bent because we're going to imagine this is our Scorpio leg. We're going to keep it in place. And then again, we're going to lower that outside leg. I want you to squeeze, 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 squeeze. So you're a little bit higher. So if you do touch the ground, do it on earth, so we get a little bit higher to help you work on that strength and flexibility in that back leg as well. Okay? So there's a lot to get on with here. Let me know if this is helpful to you. So that is how you can do it without going into your butterfly, okay? And I absolutely totally recommend that you try it and practice. And I know, like, there's some things it's like, oh, I can do it, I can get into it another way. But there's so much you can do and like not what's the word? Conserve some energy if you want to do combos and stuff without having to do a butterfly first. So try it that way. And plus, you're going to be working your strength and flexibility in your legs. So that's a win-win. When you just go into an invert and swing yourself around, that's just using momentum. So let's continue to build that strength and that flexibility because you're awesome and you deserve it. Okay, so go and check that out, go and give it a go, and I will see you again on Monday. Have a great day. Bye.